Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. Welcome Corbin, David, Mike, Hunter, Raphael, Carlos, Santiago, Sean, I'm Fierce, Alex, Vicky. Thank you guys so much for joining and happy Friday. The market, for the most part, is down this morning. We saw that Amazon earnings report really have a strong negative effect across a lot of stocks in a lot of sectors. So that's kind of dragging a lot of stocks down this morning. In terms of like intraday, the SPY is just kind of all over the place. Overall, it is still down though. So yeah, just definitely be on the lookout for that. Heading into Friday, there's a lot of selling pressure so far. But Tom, do you have any specific stocks or any setups you're watching for this morning?
I was really looking at a couple stocks that reported earnings like Chevron and Exxon, and they actually reported decent earnings, but they actually ended up tanking down. Like we can see Exxon and Mobil ended up falling here at open. So definitely a weird thing to see with the oil sector. They all popped up in pre-market, but then fell down and open. And these earnings are always going weird, but that's a weird thing to see. And then I'm also seeing on CNBC that a key inflation indicator is up 3.5% year over year in June for the fastest gain since 1991. So that's a pretty weird article to see out too. But it looks like here at open, we actually have some green coming back into the market, which is good.
Very interesting. So welcome. Let's see. Keisha, Alex, Maine, Dennis, and Sean, thank you guys so much for joining today. As always, if you're watching any specific stocks, just throw them up in the chat. I have a couple different scanners running right now. Looks like Moderna's popping up. For the most part, though, stocks are down. Amazon's down 7%. And they're just, I don't know, like they're not selling off too much, at least for now, but they're getting pretty close. Watch it at $3,325 level. It was been like the low of pre-market, and it's also a pretty big support.
Yeah, that is going to be a pretty big support. Definitely look for that. If Amazon can break below that, we might see another good move to the downside. Like those earnings, they were actually pretty good. They only lost out on like their revenue and their sales. So it was honestly like a decent move. It just was another one of those like earnings disasters, unfortunately. But definitely look for them to maybe continue going down. I don't like how they posted some red here at open again. I think that's a pretty bad sign, but definitely look for that move below there. And, they also drug down the QQQ and the overall market last night pretty largely. The QQQ was really going down. Now it's actually really recovering up at open, which is a pretty good sign, I'd say, for the overall market at least. But man, Amazon is still sitting down here at these lows.
Yeah, you know it. UPS is also tanking down. I don't know if you see that one. They're really breaking below support, and it's looking a little rough. They're down around 2% today, but, this can definitely fall a lot more.
Yeah, that was actually a huge support that was broken there, like 190 1 to 190.50 right there. That was huge actually. And UPS, man, I've been looking at this one for the past couple years, just looking at it in amazement since it's just been gapping up the way it has been. And I've honestly been waiting for it to go down. So I'm glad to see it coming down like this. I would think we might come down to like this 180 resistance or 180 support down here and actually hold there. But it could keep going down even further than that. I think that the way it's moved up this year is so significant that we could definitely consolidate quite a bit.
Alrighty, Nvidia, how's that one doing? It's kind of all over the place. Let me look at a couple different stocks. Looks like Disney's not doing too much. Palantir's trying to pop this morning. Target is mixed. Moderna is exploding. Wow. UPST is a good opening candle. So yeah, very mixed movement this morning. Let's see what we have going on in the chat. All right, welcome Vicky, and let's see what we have. Let's see. We have Alex saying, what are your thoughts on Clove for cash secured puts or shares for the long term? I like it. It's just risky, So I like the setup. Just understand that it's a risky play. It's, a totally different ball game. Selling puts on CLOV rather than like the SPY or Apple or something like that. But I like it overall. And, when you're selling puts, you're getting paid to buy the stock at, a low price. So it's definitely a solid strategy. Corbin says, I have a DraftKings 51 strike call for 827. There we go. That's pretty good. You have some time with it, so that's good to see. He said a 51 strike call. Well, that's good. It's it's a little bit out of the money, but not bad at all.
Yeah, it was actually in the money yesterday, so it's not terrible. And looking at DraftKings, I think DraftKings looks like they're holding this 49 support level down here pretty well today. And it looks like that they're actually bouncing off that 1,000 SMA, which generally holds up pretty well. So hopefully we can see a nice little pop back out of DraftKings because it was looking like a pretty good stock until it started to sell off midday yesterday.
How about Zoom action this morning? Look at it intraday. It's popping up. I mean, there's clearly a lot of buyers coming into this one, Tom, like we saw yesterday and this morning too.
Yeah, hopefully this momentum at open can continue up and we might be able to break that high around 396, possibly come up test 400 again and see like what's going on with the stock. I would really love to see a test of 400. That would be a pretty good move out of Zoom, but keep in mind there is that resistance there like 397. So but looking at it, man, it's still flying. Like even on the 1 minute chart right now, the past 1 minute has been a really good candle for Zoom, and really watch it. I think we could see a pretty good run here. Like I said, possibly up to 400.
Good stuff. And then we have Alex saying, what are good support levels to watch out for? So I think he was referring to CLOV. So let's take a look. CLOV, we do have support right at $8. Let's see. Tom, do you have any other levels for support?
Yeah, $8 is going to be the biggest support level, and especially the way it fell overnight, I would definitely look at $8. It almost touched that almost in pre-market. You could say like $8.05 is really close too. So, give or take a few cents from $8. But looking at going forward today, it looks like we're popping up a little. So there is some resistance up there, like around 840 to like 845. So definitely look at that. But I would say the main thing is going to be that $8 level, Mike. That seems like it's a really solid level. And, you could say that there's a bottom support below it around 785, but generally right around 8.
Good stuff. Tom, I'm really looking at these AMD call credit spreads. So let's take a look at AMD on the daily chart. Obviously, it's exploding up, right? And I was thinking about selling some out-of-the-money call credit spreads on it. Personally, I like the setup. I'm still looking at different strikes right now, but essentially it would just be making the bet that AMD does not continue to explode. Now, let's say I sold, let's just say the 110 call, AMD can go up to 108, 109, or it could fall and I'd still make money. So I'm really considering that play. I feel like, it's in a very unique scenario where it's like it ran up a ton already. And then plus with the market kind of going crazy with this Amazon earnings, like, I don't know, I'm just thinking about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that could work out. I'm a little worried though that AMD might keep going up. It's kind of been consolidating in a range for about like a whole year now, actually, ever since like last July or August. It's just been trading flat almost between $73 and like $95. So I would definitely be a little careful with it. Like it kind of seems like it might start breaking out and maybe like holding up here again. But like you said, as long as it's under 110, you'll be pretty good for it. But I would be pretty careful, though. I think that it might start to run, especially with it breaking out of the range. But, that's just my opinion. And I think it could definitely, though, work out for you.
Alrighty. And then let's see. We have Click saying, good job, guys. Thoughts about Amazon for the long term? Is good time to buy share? I would say no, it's not. I mean, well, here it depends how you look at it. Like, if you plan on holding this stock for 10 years, then yeah, it's probably a good time to buy shares. Of course, no one can call the bottom, but personally, I think it'll continue to sell off more. That's just my opinion. I've been seeing a lot of different put positions being bought by institutions, and it was just at a crazy level to begin with Amazon. So personally, I think we're going to see lower levels, but if you're going to be holding something for like 10 years or more, or even 5 years, it's definitely it can be a good time to buy in.
Yeah, I think that it could be a good time, but like Mike said, I kind of agree and think that it could go a lot lower in the shorter term. And then I think that they'll end up popping up, after like maybe like 6 months or like a year of like consolidation.
Alrighty, and let's see. We have Dollar saying, have you gone over Tesla? No, we have not, but we will right now. All right, Tesla, it is down a little bit, around 1%. It's holding that 670 support, which looks good. IV's falling a little bit. Let me take a look at a couple other related tickers. I mean, it's not like tanking or running up today. It's just kind of not doing anything as of right now. They had a ton of momentum yesterday, and as long as they hold that support around, you can say like 665 area. Personally, I think it should be good, but if it fell below that, then in my opinion, it's not looking too good.
Yeah, as long as it holds there, I think it'll be pretty decent too. And like you said, they had so much momentum yesterday that I think a lot of people were looking at this one to possibly rise up today. But, that Amazon stuff really hurt the market. So I think it's hard for a lot of these stocks to catch like a huge like run up this morning. But I think Tesla could definitely get some momentum here, maybe like later in the day.
Alrighty. And then let's see. With the other question, we have Corbin saying, I'm curious your thoughts on GLD and the DXY. Thanks. So, yeah, I was actually looking at this one. I'm glad you brought this up, Corbin. So if we take a look at the DXY, $DXY, it's been tanking off the past couple days. And if we go over to GLD, this one has been popping up over the past couple days or so. I actually really like GLD to the upside right now. I've been noticing a couple different notable fills on GLD options, and I actually like them, but I think the best way to go would be either like options that expire in like five months or more, or even just shares. So I like the setup though, but I'm not expecting like just a nice slow and steady like clean move up. Like GLD is very choppy. Catalysts heavily affect this one, and just looking at the chart, there are so many gaps with GLD where it is very, very hard to trade for the short term. So there's going to be a ton of gaps because the gold futures are all over the place. So I think the most important thing with this one, whether you're bearish or bullish, is your time horizon. In my opinion, it's not smart to be playing like, trades that you're going to close out in a day or two with this one because the gaps are unreal.
Yeah, those gaps can get pretty crazy. And, just keep in mind that those are really going to affect like that implied volatility. So there's definitely like days that if you're trading this and you only have like a week till expiration or something, you'll definitely have those days like where you like wake up and you'll be down like 50% like out of nowhere. So be really careful with it. But as long as you have that longer term expiration, I think you'll be pretty good. And GLD, I'm with you, Mike. I think it's definitely due to go up in the shorter term. There's like a lot of good momentum that I'm seeing with GLD lately, and the dollar's starting to go down a little bit. So that really helps GLD's case.
All right. And then we have Sean saying, just grabbed a quick scalp from SPY calls for a profit of $120 in 1 minute and 20 seconds. There we go, Sean. Awesome job there. Maine is saying NIO is recovering. Let's take a look. NIO. They had a nice run up so far. It's up around 0.35%, which is great to see. They definitely have resistance right around 43, so be on the lookout for that. And then we have Alex saying, how's LVS this morning? Surprisingly good. So this thing was just tanking off in a horrible way yesterday. Kept trying to bounce, and it fell below support. It had a bad open today, but once the market actually opened, or I should say it had a bad pre-market today. And then once the market opened, a lot of buyers came in, thankfully. So that's great to see. I don't know what's going on with these hotel stocks. Like LVS is getting absolutely smacked. You look at WYNN, they've been getting smacked over the past couple months. MGM, there's a lot of other ones. CZR, like I said, there's a lot of them, but they've been really hurting. And I know that the Delta variant can definitely hurt them, but I would expect that to be priced in at this point. So it's still at a good level, and I'm glad I didn't sell out at open because it had a great open so far.
And man, Mike, WYNN is really getting beaten down on that daily chart. It looks like that one's starting to really get down towards this key support at like right at $100 or just below it. So definitely look out for some of these hotel stocks. I think they could start to turn around, but this is getting pretty scary. Like you said, I don't know if it's like the variant causing this to happen or what exactly the main catalyst here is. And, I would have kind of expected, like Las Vegas and places like that to start to actually get a lot of money now, like the summer's going on and you would expect like a lot of people to be there. I know that it's been pretty crowded from what I've heard. So it should be pretty, I would say, good for the longer term because it's good to see that lots of people are starting to travel and stuff again. So That's my main thing is I'm really looking at it like it's just blowing my mind that they're just falling off this hard because of everything good that's been going on. And maybe these earnings coming up might turn them around.
All right. And then let's see. With the next question, we have Sean saying AMD going crazy today again. It is. Like this thing is just exploding up. We just broke all-time highs, Tom.
Yeah, look at that. Up above 105. That's actually a really good move for AMD. That high yesterday was at like 105.70. We're at like 105.80 something at the highs today. I really love to see this. AMD is one of my favorite stocks. In the shorter term, who knows? It could run up to, like 110, maybe like 120. Who knows how high it could really get? But it is kind of due to come down like we were talking about earlier. And, you can see this with AMD's chart that generally once it starts posting these huge gaps to the upside, it will have a couple red days eventually. So definitely look out for that. Be careful. You can always ride that momentum, but the momentum will eventually stop. But I love AMD. It does look like a nice little break of that upside today, and I'd love to see it run up to like 110 or something. But man, it looks like it's having a lot of trouble breaking out above this like 106 resistance.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a powerhouse. It has a lot of momentum. It's a solid company, too. And then we have Top saying Zoom, ZM. Let's take a look. So I still really like this company. They actually went from green to red today, which is very surprising. Overall, they have a lot of buyers coming in. I like them for the long term. But yeah, I like them. That's really all I have to say about them. I don't see any I guess a major level to watch out for is 400 as resistance and then 375 as support. Besides that, I just like them for the long term.
Yeah, me too. I think that's going to be the main way to look at it. Unfortunately, they did like gap down last night kind of with the market, and then they recovered up today, but it would have been a lot better if they could have opened up at 386 or something, kind of like where they are now. But overall, I think Zoom's still a pretty good play, like you said, for the longer term. In the short term, it did hit that. It got really close to 400. It hit it like 397.50 and ended up going down. They're 397. So definitely look for it, though. I think it might start going back to the downside, unfortunately, but we need these tech stocks to kind of get back up there.
All right, we have dollar signs saying, thank you to the most beautiful traders on YouTube from my cousin. Well, thank you, dollar signs cousin. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining today. And then we have Slick saying, good morning, Mike and Tom. Shout out Hunter. We putting on target today? LOL. All right, well, Slick, it's really on my radar. This thing, for some reason, just goes up every single day. They had a negative Amazon earnings report yesterday, heard them in after hours, but, it's Tom, this reminds me so much of Home Depot from a couple months ago. Every single day, Home Depot would just go up and up and up. So, I would hope that we're getting to the end with Target soon. But yeah, either way, I'm positioned in a good way. I have put debit spread that expires in months from now, so I'm not really too worried about it. But yeah, it's kind of annoying seeing this thing go up every single day.
Yeah, that's getting old at this point. It's just man, we're just looking for some downwards movement, and it just keeps recovering up. Even on days that it's red, it's not even really that red. If we go look here, this day wasn't very good, but then we had a red day the next day, but it was more flat, flat to just slightly up. Whenever you look at it on the daily, it doesn't even it has these consolidation areas, but man, it just goes flat. Like I said, it doesn't really even go down. So it's really hard to trade this one down. But like you said, we're kind of waiting for it to do a Home Depot and have that kind of nice, that nice break off. Home Depot is actually really popping up today, almost straight up. But man, they had a really good break to the downside for those 2 days when it finally did start falling off. And I think we'll see the same thing with Target, but it's going to be really, really hard to catch the top, like we keep saying. So be really careful with it, but we're definitely eyeing it up.
All right. And then let's see, we have, Okay, we have Rohit saying, want to check out NIO. Let's take a look, Tom. So NIO, they had a wild day yesterday, but it's looking pretty good so far. It's up around 2%. Looks like it's breaking out of that resistance right at $43.50. Tom, hit us with some of those levels.
Yeah, NIO has that great support at $40. I really like that. I think NIO looks pretty solid for the rest of today. It's starting to break out of that like high from a couple days ago around like 43.30, kind of like you said. There is that resistance at like 43.50 too. So really watch out for that today. It looks like that it is kind of hitting that high up there and coming right back down. But I think we might get up through there. NIO looks like it has a lot of momentum. And man, I know Tesla was having a pretty good day yesterday, really dragging up the whole EV sector. And I think NIO just looks so solid at these levels, even for like the next like couple days or like the next few trading days. I would look at it maybe up to like $47 or like 45, somewhere at least around there. I think that we'll see a pretty decent move, but it is starting to break up above there today. Just be careful. Like I said, there is that little resistance here that I think it'll need to, it might take like a few minutes to finally get up above there, but it looks like that's going to be the solid resistance, and the solid support's definitely like 41.50.
All right. Let's see what else is moving. It looks like LI is moving in a pretty good way. They're also an EV stock. XPEV also moving up pretty well. Let me take a look.
Yeah, Tesla even looks good.
Yeah, Tesla even looks good, like you said. What resistance does Tesla have?
They got a good run right at like 683. Like you could say it's just pretty much like 684. That's a good resistance for them. A good support today is definitely right around 670. That seems like a really good support today, but they're actually really starting to get some momentum. And I think that if they start to move kind of like the way they moved yesterday, we'll see it kind of break 683, and they might kind of run up and try to retest that $700 resistance. I think that they could possibly do that today. They moved a lot yesterday, like 30 points almost to the upside. So they could definitely do that one today, but be really careful. There's that huge resistance at 700. But I think if we could break out above 683.69, which is the high of yesterday, you guys might be able to catch a pretty nice day trade to the upside, possibly up to 700. But make sure it breaks out right here, because if it fails, that if you day trade Tesla, it's going to be a pretty risky day trade. Those options are always pretty expensive for them.
All right. And then we have Jay saying Tesla's moving up. So right now I see resistance on Tesla at 680. After that, the next major one is 685. But, let's say we break 685, Tom. Like, what are you watching next? Because I know that there are a lot of, like, horizontal support levels at, like, set dollar levels, like you can say 685, 690 and stuff like that, but there's also a lot of like ascending and descending support and resistance levels. So let's say we break 685, what level are you watching next?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing I'll be looking for is definitely like 690. Like let's say I had like some call positions and I just entered them right there. I would definitely be looking for 690 at the first stop. Now, I would hope that we could come up and possibly retest 700, but I'm definitely going to be looking for that 690 to begin with, just because it's hit there a few times too. It seems like anywhere between 690 to 700 is a key resistance area. And it seems like, everybody says 700 all the time, but 690's honestly been hit just as much. So definitely look out for that. And it looks like that we are kind of breaking right now, about to hit 685, but we broke that high of yesterday. And that honestly looks like a pretty good setup right now.
All righty. Sean says, let's go Clove, CLOV. Let's take a look. So this one, it's still holding that support, Sean, so that's great to see. $8 has been very strong, and I'm not sure where you're selling puts, but I actually like the setup, and you're kind of tempting me. If I want to do a risky play, this will probably be the one to do.
Yeah, I would say so too. CLOV could definitely move a lot, and on that daily chart, there's so much upside potential to Clove. Like if it gets if you're in some calls and Clove gets a lucky run up to like $12 or something, man, you'll be doing pretty well. So I really like it, especially for like possibly like not like leaps or anything, but just like a couple months out. Like I don't like weeklies on it or anything. I definitely like it with a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through the chain right now. I looked at the August 13th chain, and let's say you go to like the 7 strike puts for August 13th. You'll get paid around $20, which initially might not seem like a lot, but that's a lot for a stock like CLOV. Like, $20 on a $700 investment, that's a nice reduction in the cost basis. So I definitely like it. And Sean, you're kind of tempting me, so it'll definitely be on my radar. But besides that, it looks like NIO's running up pretty well. BLNK. AMD's pulling back a little bit. Oh, Penn's green today, Tom. This is good to see.
Yeah, that's actually really good to see. I'm glad to see Penn kind of turning around. They had that really bad day yesterday, unfortunately. Another down day for them, which sucked to see, but it is a nice day today. You know, they're getting back up to that $70 resistance level right now, and it looks like they might break that.
All right. How about this Palantir movement intraday?
Yeah, another good move. You know, I'm glad to see them recovering too. They had another terrible day yesterday. They're recovering up very nicely. And it seems like a lot of buyers are coming in and trying to buy the dips up on a few of these stocks. And Palantir is honestly getting closer and closer to that $20 support. So it just seems like it's getting pretty enticing to possibly get some shares or even like sell some more puts for like the longer term here. I know that, you know, a lot of people got screwed over whenever Palantir started coming down off that 2750 resistance. But man, I think it still looks pretty decent, especially for the longer term. And I would say right now you're pretty close to that support. So you're only like $1 or $2 away.
All right. Give me 1 second. So Sean said, I'm in shares selling covered clove calls. The other Sean is selling puts. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, I mean, still, you know, CLOV is still at a pretty good level. And, you know, even if you're selling those covered calls, it's still going to reduce your cost basis. And, you know, in the worst case scenario, you'll be paid to sell your shares at a high price. So either way, I'm definitely watching this one with you, Sean. But let's see what else we have moving. Let's see. Looks like a lot of people are talking about NEO right now.
Yeah, NEO's actually really hot right now. It's actually running up, breaking those highs of yesterday or in pre-market around like 43.50, having a great run. Tesla's running up right now too, and it just seems like that these EV stocks are really recovering up nicely. I'm really liking the move I'm seeing with Tesla right now. You know, Tesla is really all the way up down to 685.30, up a lot from that break at like 683. So looks like we're breaking 685 like we were talking about earlier and starting to really run up. Watch for 690 as we get up there. But these stocks are really starting to go. NEO's one of my favorites right now. It's just so hot. And, you know, there it seems like 44 might be a good resistance there. But I'm still looking at the upside. We're already up 3%, but it seems like it's just really breaking out. And it might have that type of good, you know, type of Friday movement where we might run up to that, you know, like I said, we're at the 40 resistance. If we break this, I think we could run all the way up to like 45.
Good stuff. So CLF is also running pretty well right now. I don't know if you saw that one, but this is going for the 1, 2, 3, 4. What is this, like the 8th green day in a row? Something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's actually awesome to see. I can't believe CLF is still going. You know, I heard we were talking about it like a day or two ago, and it was getting pretty high. And man, it looks like a crazy stock on the daily chart. It almost reminds me of like an X play, like a US Steel or something, the way it was going up for the past like few months. But I could see it still like going up possibly for the next day. That momentum's definitely there, and it looks like it wants to come up and retest those highs.
For sure. And then I feel like everyone's forgetting about this one, but UPWK is tanking today. I like it for the long term, but it's definitely going to be a wild ride over the next couple years. Like, you know, as we saw like a month ago, this thing just tanked out of nowhere from 60 down to like 50, and there wasn't even any like catalyst with that one. So this one's kind of going crazy, and I want to sell puts on it when it falls more.
Yeah, UPWK is really starting to get down there. There's a big support I'm seeing down there around like, you could say like $45, maybe 46, somewhere really close to there. But I'm with you, Mike. I think it could get to be into some really good like levels over the next like couple weeks to really get some of those good opportunities with selling those puts, and definitely look at like $40 if we can break like 45.
All right. How's GPS looking?
GPS, you know, I haven't actually watched this one in a long time, but Gap is actually looking like it might try to recover back up decently on the daily chart. It moved off the 200 SMA a little while ago. Looks like it is starting to get that type of nice momentum that you like to see, posting a nice green candle today at open, and overall seems like a pretty good play. I actually really like the way it's setting up, and it just seems like Gap, you know, like they are that like retail type of company, but I know that they've been getting a lot more into the online industry lately.
For sure. All right, Tom, can you give us some technicals on the SPY real quick?
Yeah, the SPY's actually looking pretty solid today for a nice like little recovery back. Like a lot of people were looking at it down with Amazon's earnings yesterday. It obviously killed the SPY and the QQQ in after hours, but man, I really like to see this. It's running right back up, and we see this happen quite a bit with the market and with stocks that end up tanking down the way Amazon did. Now, I don't think Amazon recovered up. Yeah, they're just barely up, but overall, a lot of the other stocks that fell down with them are coming back up, which is awesome to see. I know Walmart was down a lot yesterday. They're coming right back up. Target was falling in after hours, really worrying a lot of people, and it recovered up and then some. So we're seeing some good moves out of those stocks that were initially falling off, which is, I think, why we're seeing the SPY and the Dow and even the QQQ kind of climbing itself back out of that hole that it went down into. But keep in mind, we have a long way to go to the high of yesterday at 441.80. I think that's going to be really hard to get to. We have some key resistance levels coming up, especially at 440 on the SPY. That's going to be really big. We're like sitting right around the 1,000 SMA on the 1 minute. And then on the bottom side, I think there's a good support right around 438.
All right, perfect. And then we have Sean C saying, because there's too many Seans in the chat, we have Sean C saying, I got the 820 12 strike workhorse calls. A lot of them up 25%. Do I hold over the weekend? So that's the $1 million question. Let's take a look at it. WKHS, he said he has the 20. He said he has the 12 strike. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, honestly, if you're up like in a position like this, I don't think it's a bad idea to, sell some of them, maybe sell a third of your position. Or, Sean, what you can do is, let's say you had the 12 strike, like you said, you can sell like a decent amount of the other call option. So if we go to the 820 chain, what if you sold like the 13 strike calls or, maybe the 14 strike calls? You'll get paid a lot, if not all of your money back. And if the stock continues up, you'll get a little bonus at the end. So I'm not sure how much you bought the 12 strike calls for, but if you can sell the $12.50 calls or the 13 strike calls for the amount you paid or more, you can guarantee profit or eliminate all of your risk, and then also still have the opportunity to make more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. And honestly, Workhorse looks like it has a pretty good move today. So I would definitely think about doing it. There's that, like Mike said, you're eliminating a lot of risk with it. So that's the main reason to do that. But, they did have that weird move a couple days ago in the middle of the day. Do you know if that was just because of maybe like that EV news in that bill, or because that looks like some pretty crazy news, actually?
Let me take a look. I saw there was a ton of news on yesterday. It looks like I don't know. It looks like there was news with their CEO. They named they had a new CEO. It looks like they had some flow coming in. Looks like an earnings call the other day too. So it looks like there were multiple catalysts with that one. Like I said, there was also flow and then that CEO news. But I don't really.
Yeah, yesterday, like right at noon, they just had a crazy move.
Yeah, I see that. I'm sure Sean knows, but it's definitely popping. Corbin says, DraftKings, boom. I like to hear those words, Corbin. It's looking pretty good so far. It's making a nice recovery from open, kind of like LVS, which is pretty great. And then Raphael is asking for the technical analysis on AMC. Let's take a look, Tom. So, looks like we have support there's actually a lot of levels on this one. So, looks like the main support from this week was at $37.30 level. It bounced off of this level multiple times throughout the week, so I'd watch that for support for today. There's also a little bit of support at 38. After that, we have resistance at 39, and then after that, we have another resistance level right at like 39.50.
Yeah, there's definitely it seems like there's resistance levels with AMC almost every 50 cents on the way up. So definitely look at those key levels. I think that'll be the way to go. $40 seems like it's going to be the biggest level to me, though. Like on the daily chart, that was definitely a key resistance for the past couple weeks. So definitely look for 40 and then maybe 45 if we can break those shorter term levels.
Good stuff. Looks like Tesla's popping up, Tom. It's breaking out.
Yeah, Tesla is looking really good, actually. It might run up to that 690 resistance. Like we were talking about, if it broke 685, it looked really solid. I even liked it above like 683, and it looked like a really good play that's running up very nicely. I know NIO is probably running up too. And yes, it is. NIO broke $44 and is all the way up to 44.40, almost 44.50 now. So it looks really solid to me. I think NIO is just one of the better stocks in the market right now. Even on the daily, it came down right off that support. Looks like a very solid setup. Tesla, I think, looks pretty decent as well, but Tesla still needs to break that $700 level. But NIO kind of seems like it's moving a little bit better. But Tesla, hopefully, we can get up there to 700 today.
Good stuff. AMD, Tom, we're getting pretty close to that all-time high, and we broke it again.
Did we really on AMD again? That's man, yeah, we just keep going. That's actually insane. We had that pretty good pullback for a couple minutes there, Mike, but right now it's just still continuing that run. I know all these microchip stocks are just flying today. We have AMD up, we have Nvidia recovering up from that after hours, that the way it got killed in after hours yesterday. And then we also have MU up today as well. MU is looking pretty good, up 1.19%. On the daily, MU has a lot of room to make up to kind of recover. We have Qualcomm, AMD, NVIDIA at these highs, but MU definitely has some room back to the upside here. Definitely one of my favorite stocks for the next few days. And just looking at all the stocks in the market, a lot of them are at highs, and I like how MU has a lot of room to go up. But man, AMD is really taking the spotlight away. This is an absolutely insane move, and it looks like now we're catching more red, but look for it to continue because this is just now breaking that high of earlier.
All right, what do you think with GM? They're up like 1% today, and they have earnings in a couple days.
This honestly worries me a little bit with GM and like Ford right now. Let me see what Ford looks like. Have they reported yet? Yeah, Ford actually just reported, and it looks like their EPS was decent, but the movement was actually good off of their earnings. So I don't know what to think about it overall. I personally think GM looks nice today. Like it's obviously popping up above that high of yesterday. Looks really good heading into the earnings. But man, with the earnings, I'm just really scared because I've heard that they've had to cut production with these chip shortages and stuff. And I don't know if that's going to end up hurting their profits at all, or if like this EV news will hurt them or anything. But definitely will be some interesting earnings coming up. I think that'll be actually one of the more interesting ones to look at. But the way Ford kind of went up on their earnings might show that GM could do pretty well. A lot of people say GM is pretty well developed in those in the EV industry already.
Good stuff. I don't know if you saw this one or not, but over the past couple weeks, SNOW has been slowly creeping up, and we're getting pretty close to breaking out.
On SNOW?
Yep.
Yeah, Snow looks actually really good on the daily, I think. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. It's definitely one of those hype stocks. I'd like to see it get a little bit higher and break like some of this break this 275 resistance. That's actually so defined to the cent. So 275 definitely is going to be the wall. I think if we can pass above 275, we'll see a really good move on the daily even. It honestly looks like a super good setup, Mike. It looks like it really wants to break out of that soon.
Awesome to hear. Let's see. Disney's having a good day so far. Target's having too good of a day. They got to slow down a little bit. I don't know, like literally what's going on with this one. What institution is buying, or what fund or whatever is continuing to buy into this one? Because I know Home Depot, like it got so overextended, and then, when you could say the quote-unquote bubble popped, it tanked hard. And, I think we're going to see the same thing with Target, but, no one can ever call a top.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. It's still continuing to go. And, it's nuts to me. Like Target's like a slow mover, but every single day it just continues to just like slowly staircase its way back to the upside, especially if it's down. And I just cannot believe the way it's breaking right now. This is just getting to be like an insane move, to be honest. It's finally like breaking that high of a couple days ago. And it's just, it's just one of those like things where you look at it and it makes you really scratch your head. But I'm definitely going to be looking at it to the downside shortly. Who knows how high it can go, though? I'll be really careful with it. Though it might be worth, waiting until like we see like a solid red day or something before we like enter any positions. Especially like puts or anything like that, just naked puts.
Gotcha. All right, Tom. AMC's trending up. They're about to test that $39 resistance. Uh-oh.
Man, I think they might get all the way up to 40 today. It looks like that they have a lot of momentum. It's really holding that like lower level of yesterday's open, and it looks really solid to me. Hopefully they can keep going. I know a lot of people are like really depending on AMC, I think, and definitely be careful with them though. I would not over leverage it at all, but I think that we could have a decent move. I think that there's better stocks in the market to trade personally, but I know a lot of people just love to keep watching this one, and if it moves above 40, I'll really like it. But for right now, I'm still going to, look at 40 as being that key resistance for it.
Perfect. GPS, GME. Wait, is GME tanking? Hold on. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Yeah, okay, there we go. I was so confused. I was looking at like my watch list, and I saw GME was like trending in a weird way. So, because I was going to say, like, if AMC's like popping up towards its high of day and GME's tanking off, that would have been really weird. But it looks like it's not the case.
Yeah, GME is coming back a little bit, which is a good thing to see. But it definitely does not look as good as AMC does on its chart movement. I would say GME has definitely been hurt a little bit more by the movement lately. But GME, it does look like it's coming back today pretty well. Not quite as good as AMC, though, like I said. But I do like the way it's coming back. It looks pretty good. It is getting up to these resistance levels, though, like at like 160, like 168, and different areas like right around 167. So I'd be pretty careful with it personally. I don't know about you, Mike, but I don't think I'd be entering any like swing positions to the upside anytime soon.
Oh, no. Definitely not. Definitely not. Enphase isn't looking bad today. They're up like 2%. They're getting close to that resistance right around like 188.
Yeah, that's actually going to be a good one for it. Enphase has been one of the better stocks, Mike, on this recovery back up. And, just like everything, though, they had that like week or two of downwards movement. Now they're getting back up. Like you said, that 188 level is going to be huge for them. If they can break that, I think we might see a good run up to 200 or even higher. But for right now, definitely look for a move, I think, up to those resistance levels. I think that could be a pretty good way to play this, as like a good move up to those highs of yesterday.
Perfect. And let's see. All right. We have a lot of comments coming in. Hunter saying ANVS down another 15%. Not good at all. Yeah, too bad they don't have options. I would definitely consider selling puts on them, but not an option. Chris said, hey guys, what's NIO's next resistance? Let's take a look. Yeah, this one's popping, Tom. NIO is exploding today. The next resistance I see is $45 even.
Yeah, let me check the chart. Yeah, 45 is actually going to be really solid. That hit off that a few days ago, went right down off there. So look for that. And we're up a lot today, almost 5%. Once we get up to 45, it will be like right at 5%. So definitely have it on your radar. It could have like a little bit of like an intraday move to the downside. And I'm not saying that we're going to like go down and break $42 or anything, but I think we could see a little move down and then possibly more upwards movement later on. But I think 45 might hold up as being a pretty good resistance. If we do keep going above that, 46 seems pretty good if we break 45, but I doubt we'll break that, to be honest.
All right, and then Vicky's asking about Spotify for day trading. So SPOT, it's looking pretty good so far. It has a lot of momentum today. Just watch out for that resistance at where it's at like right now, which is $233. This has been a previous support level, so now it acts as resistance. Tom, do you have any other levels or insight on this one?
Yeah, be really careful with that right now. And, like I said with NIO, it just seems like a lot of these stocks that have been running up all morning are kind of getting overextended. MU is running up. It's kind of consolidating. We have AMD, I think, even like starting to consolidate now. Yeah, AMD is even coming down. So it just seems like a lot of these stocks are getting up, kind of overextended on these intraday charts. And I think we might see pullbacks out of a lot of stocks, including Spotify. So be really careful with it. But maybe like look for it to come down and maybe hit like $230 or maybe that high of yesterday, like around 228 or 229, like somewhere right around there. Maybe you can get like a good like little like a dip buy or something intraday and get a little then get some more movement to the upside like later on. But for right now, I'd be a little careful with it. It does look like it's pulling back.
Good stuff. And then we have Jorge saying, morning guys, LI/XPEV/NEO. So the EV stocks. they're all moving pretty much the same way. They have a lot of momentum today. They're all breaking out. I know we talked about NEO like a million times, but if we go back to LI, I mean, it's exploding up today. You can't really beat this momentum. Just one thing to note is that today's movement falls within like the 95th percentile of all its moves. So basically what that means is, this is a crazy, crazy move. We don't see it too often. So some would think that, we're getting to a point where most likely it's not going to continue up.
Yeah, and we're up 11%, and I see a pretty good resistance up here around $35. So definitely be careful with it in the shorter term. But I think it looks like it could have a lot of good, possibly a lot of good green days, over the next couple weeks. So it might be a good stock to throw on your watch list and, watch it open for the next few days and maybe catch another day like this if we can get a good move like this over the next week or two.
I'm looking at some of the options on LI, and when I look at today's expiration, there's certain options are up 3,000%, 2,000%. So we really saw some crazy movement out of this one. So just be careful if you plan on buying the calls on these, because they're up so much already. And XPEV is pretty much the same scenario. Then we have Matthew saying opinion on dollar index, so DXY. So yeah, I mean, it's been falling a decent amount over the past couple days. The market has had a mixed reaction towards it. If we look at the SPY related to the DXY, the SPY has just been kind of flat, and then gold has been trending up. So the main asset I'm looking at related to the dollar's movement is gold, and then specifically GLD.
Yeah, and with gold, I think that'll be a really good play, especially if the dollar keeps going down. Personally, I feel like the dollar will start going back up eventually. I don't know when it will. It seems like there's a decent support here around $92 or somewhere really close to where we are right now. Maybe we'll hold here and start to go up, but it seems like after Powell talked, he really sent the dollar to the downside and made gold go up. So if the dollar keeps going down towards this $90 support down here, I think it could be pretty good. But just looking at the dollar, just looking at this technical, this bottom trend level down here, it seems like the dollar might hold this and start going up over the next few months. But for the next couple weeks and stuff, the dollar looks like it has a lot of downwards momentum, and we might see GLD go up and retest that 180 resistance that we've been seeing for quite a while now.
Good stuff. And then Corbin said, I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for joining, Corbin. Hopefully DraftKings pops up for you. And then we have Click talking about Hood. How's Hood doing?
Yeah, we actually haven't even talked about this one today yet, surprisingly enough. But yeah, Hood's not doing good today again, down another 1.9%. I know that they were down around 8 to 9% or something yesterday. So not good to see, but they are kind of holding that lower level of yesterday, using that as a good support. I think it looks almost intraday. The setup looks almost pretty good to the upside. I think we might start to see some more movement possibly back up today with Hood. But overall, it's had a lot of negative momentum coming into it. So I'd be really careful with it. But just looking at the intraday setup, on the 1 minute chart, I think it looks like it might try to run up again.
All right. So Tom, we're getting close to breaking all-time highs on AMD again. It's lingering right around those crazy levels at 106.50. So definitely keep your eye on that one. Welcome David to the stream, and ABC said AMAT or Intel. So let's take a look at them. So they're both kind of moving in or similar ways, I should say, this morning. AMAT is definitely leading the way. Tom, do you have any thoughts on either of these two?
Yeah, AMAT is getting close to those all-time highs. I would play that one. It's more of a breakout play. I mean, Intel is one of those stocks that, is going to be really confusing for the next few months. There's a lot of weird fundamental stuff going on with their company. It could end up good. It could end up bad, but probably, just given the way that this type of sector goes, they'll probably recover back up in the longer run. I would definitely play shares with Intel. I don't think I'd get calls for this one to save my life. I'd almost get calls on anything else, or if anything, go find a semiconductor ETF or something. But I really like Intel for the longer run as far as shares go. Or if you want to sell puts, I think that might be a good way to go too. But other than that, I don't think Intel's like, going to be like a grade, like a super good mover for like the next couple months or anything. I think it might take them quite a while to kind of get established again. But AMAT is honestly looking pretty good if they can start to break out to those all-time highs. It's just that they're getting up to all these resistance levels now, and they might have like a hard few days trying to get up through here.
All right. Well, Tom, do you have any last-minute stocks you're watching for today?
Man, I'm really have my eyes on like MU still. I think that they could have a pretty good recovery over like the next like few weeks, maybe not today necessarily, but I think that they're pretty far off their highs. They could have a decent little move back to the upside. Also, I have my eyes on like a lot of these like smaller, not like smaller stocks per se, but just like stuff like AAL, CCL, stuff like that. They're all red today, and I think that they could start to get a boost back to the upside. But it looks like that they are starting to turn back off towards their supports, and it might be like a good time to start selling puts and stuff again on like CCL, AAL, possibly even like Southwest Airlines being like LUV and stuff. LUV looks like it's actually holding its support pretty decently at around $50. So anything under there might be a pretty good like strike price to sell some puts at.
There we go. So thank you guys so much for joining the stream today. We had a wild week in the market with all the crazy earnings, the FOMC, Powell. It was a crazy week, guys. So enjoy your weekend, and thank you guys so much for joining